superior vena cava forms from 4 veins that drain the head, and those veins are called jugular veins. And there's 4 jugular veins. There's 2 external and 2 internal jugular veins. So you haven't dissected them out yet. They're normally blue in color, but sometimes with these injections, they don't go exactly the way it was planned. For example, let's see, so this tube right here is a carotid artery. Normally they're red in color, and yours isn't. Okay, but then I can see a blue tube just to the outside of that, and that's one of the jugular veins. Yeah, you got some lousy veins. No offense. Let's try this side. Oh, I think I see a juicy jugular. Let's see.
The best kind.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, here's a nice jugular vein. Look at that. So you can see clearly. Notice how sometimes nerves run adjacent to veins. You typically find that happening. You also see some lymph nodes running next to veins. Okay, so here's one of your jugular veins going into, draining the head, going into the superior vena cava. Now, on these animals, on vertebrate animals, the veins run on top of the artery. So to see an artery, you kind of got to go under a vein, but you don't want to break the vein. So what we'll do, we'll start with something. In anatomy, when you're trying to find things, and I have no idea where it is, let's say I can't find the pancreas. Okay, so what you should do, start with an organ that's nearby that you know for sure what it is. Like, for example, the stomach. And then from the stomach, work your way out. So if we're trying to find some arteries, one artery that's abundantly clear is this big one right here. And that's called the pulmonary trunk. Everyone wants to call that the aorta because they get excited. They see this big white tube. Oh, that's the, it isn't. That's the pulmonary trunk. Now the best place to find the aorta is to slide the animal's viscera to one side and find the big garden hose running down the spine, because you know that bad boy's the aorta. All right, so we'll start with something we know. That's the aorta. All right. Here's a vein you don't have to identify, so I'm just going to remove it.
What is it?
The azygos. These are all vessels that feed the rib cage. So I'm not going to have you find those. So the vertebral, the azygos. So I'm going to remove some of this tissue. Get a real nice view of. Let's get rid of that. This is thymus gland tissue. All right, and this clear tissue, that's the sac that covered the heart. That's the pericardium. So it's beautiful to look at, but it gets in your way when you're finding what's called the great vessels of the heart. So I'll just remove that for you. You also get some nice view of some of the nerves. This nerve is called the phrenic nerve. It's the nerve that goes right to the diaphragm. It's the nerve of breathing. It's the nerve that tells your diaphragm when to contract, when to relax. I'm going to remove it because you don't have to find it, and it's in my way. So I'm just going to cut it and reflect it back. Okay,
The aortic arch.
so now you can see how the aorta, not visible yet. I'm going to show you the arch. Because to the casual observer, it looks like the aorta and this are the same, but they're not. This is the pulmonary trunk, and this vessel actually goes down to form 2 pulmonary arteries, and you can see one of them right here. So the pulmonary trunk comes up, around, and then goes down. It bifurcates and forms 2 pulmonary arteries. And this piece right here, which connects the pulmonary trunk with the aorta, is a temporary shunt found only in fetal animals. It's called a ductus arteriosus. And the reason why you have that, if you think about it, a fetal animal's lung has no oxygen in it. Fetal animals don't breathe. At least they don't breathe oxygen. So sending all this blood from the right atrium to the lungs is a stupid idea because there's no oxygen there. So fetal animals have this piece right here. It's called the ductus arteriosus, which takes most of their blood that's supposed to be getting oxygen and it's already got oxygen. It got it from mom's bloodstream. It passes it right directly into the aorta by this temporary tube right here. Now, prior to birth, that ductus arteriosus becomes filled, and the lumen becomes filled, and it actually becomes a ligament. So when a baby is born, all the blood from the pulmonary trunk is going into the lungs. One of the problems with premature babies, the ductus arteriosus is still open, and this creates a breathing problem for them. Anyway, at any rate, the aorta actually comes up. It does not go this way. It comes up and forms an arch. And if I free up some of this tissue, you can see the aortic arch is right here. So from the left ventricle, blood comes up through the aortic arch, loops around, and forms the dorsal aorta, feeding your lower body. Now, how does blood get to the upper body regions? Well, from the aortic arch, there's two big branches. There's two big branches that deliver blood to the upper body regions, and you can clearly see them right here. There's two of them, right here and right here. This one's called the brachiocephalic trunk, and the brachiocephalic trunk travels up, branches off, and feeds the right arm, continues to branch up to form the carotid arteries, which...
Is this blue thing coming off of it? From the brachiocephalic trunk?
Nope.
No? Alright, so it's not clear.
No, you can see where it fed the
This
arm
is
down
this is actually your carotid artery, which is supposed to be red.
Yeah.
So
We had
this,
a hard time with
and
these.
you can see how the carotid artery is continuous with the brachiocephalic trunk. See the connection? Okay. And this other big tube leading from the aortic arch is the left subclavian,
Subclavian.
which feeds the left arm.
Is that also
Yeah,
that
you
right there
can see.
part of the subclavian?
Well, you can see branches of it. Yeah,
Of
it's
it,
it's
yeah.
actually going to go here, and it's going to divide and feed the entire
Entire arm.
shoulder and the entire arm. So you've got aortic arch, brachiocephalic trunk right here, left subclavian, pulmonary trunk,
Aorta.
pulmonary artery right here. I don't think pulmonary artery is on your list. I don't think it
You can
is.
see where it's formed.
And then
It's
the
inferior.
and this is the aorta, inferior vena cava,
It's on the bottom.
easy to find.
Yeah,
It's a big blue tube
right from the bottom.
draining the lower body region.
Anterior is this big one,
Yeah,
right?
here it is. Here's the inferior vena cava right here, and superior vena cava is here, both draining directly into the right atrium.
And what is it called where they bifurcate? Is there a name for that?
No, you got a superior vena cava draining into the right atrium, and you have an inferior vena cava also draining into the right atrium. Two separate veins draining into the right atrium. Okay. What else? Okay.
Can you do
We're
something
good.
similar with ours?
We found the renal ones.